Welcome back to A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Give us a follow on Twitter at Locked On ATL. Of course, follow me at Mark Zinno, MarkZinno. Love to interact with you guys there. Love to see that you guys are getting involved here in Locked On Sports Atlanta as we launch this thing. So many great shows here on this Locked On network, including right here in Atlanta. Don't forget about John Chuckery's Hitting Hard and Tanitra Batiste and Jarvis Davis, ATL Day Ones. All that right here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. And certainly, I'm glad you guys are taking part in A to Z, and I'm very happy to be back with you on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, every single day, right here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Again, free on YouTube. Just search Locked On Sports Atlanta. Wherever you get your podcast, you can hear this show every single day. This segment brought to you by our good friends at Built Bar. You know, it's that time of year where, you might be letting your New Year's resolutions go. You might not feel like you're being as healthy as you want to be. Well, that's where Built Bar comes in. Replace Built Bar and make it part of your everyday regimen for a snack, for a treat, something when you're hungry. It is absolutely 100% one of the best bars out there. Why? Because it tastes great, but it's also really healthy for you. And have you guys tried Puffs yet? Puffs, you're missing out. It's one of the best features about Built Bars. They're protein-infused marshmallow. Yes, they've even made marshmallow protein. Fluffy, marshmallowy, not just a protein bar. They're a treat. And every Built Bar covered in 100% chocolate. Puffs are a fan favorite. They have some incredible flavors like cinnamon churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. They have the flavor for everybody. And go to their website, built.com, and check out their macros chart. If you count macros, and if you don't know what macros are, hit me up on Twitter, and I'll give you guys a quick lesson. But if you count your macros, Built Bars are amazing. 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, just 4 net carbs, 17 grams of protein. This is a protein bar that doesn't feel like a protein bar, but works just like one. They come in so many different flavors: mint brownie, coconut almond, and new for this month, white chocolate cookies and cream. Delicious. Built Bar, they make them taste good first, then they figure out how to make them healthy. That's exactly what they've done. Go to built.com, use the promo code LOCK15 and get 15% off your order. Again, built.com and the promo code LOCK15 for 15% off your order of Built Bars. All right. Let's get to the Atlanta Falcons here, because my good friend Michael Rothstein, who writes for ESPN.com, was asked, and again, some of this stuff is like for internet clicks. I'm not sure a lot of these writers 100% believe that these trades or these ideas are viable, but, it's kind of the way that ESPN conglomerates all of their football writers from across the country to get to pitch into a story. And the story they wanted them to pitch into was the possible trade of DK Metcalf, who may be on his way out of Seattle in the final year of his deal, as Seattle goes into a rebuild and they figure out what they're going to do. And Rothstein put together a trade for the Atlanta Falcons to acquire DK Metcalf. And I apologize to Michael. I forget 100% what it is, but I think it was like a second-round pick and a fourth-round pick in 2022 and maybe like another pick in 2023, whatever it was for DK Metcalf. And the logic makes sense from the standpoint of, it gives Arthur Smith this big body receiver like he had in Tennessee with A.J. Brown, another complement to Kyle Pitts. The Falcons get some weapons on the offensive end that they desperately need because their wide receiver room is like a laughing stock right now in the NFL. And so on the surface, and I think Mike would agree to a certain extent, this trade isn't viable. I don't know that it's the best thing for the Falcons right now to give up assets. They likely can't extend DK Metcalf, not because they won't have the salary cap space, because he doesn't want to play here. So it would be a franchise tag situation. But as I've told you, the best place for the Falcons to address this this wide receiver room is in free agency next year. There's way too many high-level wide receiver free agents next offseason. Now, some of these guys may get traded again, DK Metcalf being one of them. And there's always an option where guys are going to get traded and extended before that happens. But you can't play that game right now. You just have to put it in your plan that wide receiver is not something we're going to address at this point in time because, well, we might not be as viable as we want. And Arthur Smith as a coach may be screaming at Terry Fontenot, I need guys. And I totally get it. And I totally understand it. But you have to do things in a certain order. You have to do one thing at a time when it comes to building a roster and rebuilding a roster. And I don't know if the Falcons are at the point right yet where trading away assets is the smartest thing to do. And as I said, I think as they go through this rebuild, assets are the most important thing, right? They have to have commodities now to help this team build forward. I also good folks at the Falcoholic, something that I didn't even realize once I said, yeah, that makes sense. It has been 10 years since the Falcons drafted a quarterback. 10 years. And that quarterback was Sean Renfree. Renfree. Why am I bad with names today? I have no idea. Anyway, 7th round pick, played 2 games for the Falcons, both of them in 2015, and he's out of the league. The more I think about this, and yes, full disclosure, I was a huge proponent of the Falcons drafting a quarterback last year because I thought it was a better quarterback class, and it was the opportunity to do it when you're picking 4th overall for a variety of reasons. Needed a successor to Matt Ryan, but 10 years, you haven't drafted a quarterback. The more I look at this, and as I said, getting a wide receiver in free agency next year, you got to have a quarterback. Wide receivers want to play with a guy who can get them the ball. Nobody wants to go play with Andy Dalton. They just don't. Like, nobody wants to go play with Ryan Fitzpatrick. NFL wide receivers aren't saying, trade me to wherever Fitz is playing. Like, it's just not happening. And the idea that the Falcons haven't drafted a quarterback in 10 years, moreover, to me, says change the narrative. You have a new GM. You have this new regime. Change the narrative. Like, and it's also a sign that maybe Arthur Blank isn't involved in any of this, right? Like that he's finally going to step back and let the football people do the football things, because go get a quarterback now. As I said, throw the kid to the wolves, see if he can play. If you swing and miss, so what? You're in a rebuild. You're going to have to go get another one anyway. I mean, the Falcons, the Dolphins traded for Josh Rosen and then drafted Tua. Like, I mean, it's the Cardinals drafted Josh Rosen, and then a year later drafted Kyler Murray. Like, so what? It doesn't have to define you. I get it. When you're a GM and you're a young head coach, if you swing and miss on a quarterback, it could cost you your job, and I totally understand that. But if you don't have a quarterback, it's going to cost you your job anyway. You have to get the quarterback first in the NFL. There are very few teams and very few franchises who turn around and build a ready-made roster and then go find the quarterback. I mean, even Indianapolis, they had a ready-made roster before they even went to Phillip Rivers. They had a ready-made roster. They got Andrew Luck first. Then they built the roster. And then when Andrew Luck retired, then they got Phillip Rivers. Then they got Carson Wentz. Now they got Matt Ryan. Like, they built the roster around a young quarterback. That's the way you have to do it. And the more I think about this, the more I feel like they have to draft a quarterback. At some point in time, you have to address this issue in the draft. You don't have a choice. There's nobody who's going to come here with a bare roster to play. You have to build around a young quarterback. It's what the Bengals did with Joe Burrow. It's what the Chargers did with Justin Herbert. Like, you have to build around a young quarterback. Why are the Ravens so successful? Because they had their franchise quarterback, a guy who won a Super Bowl. You know what they did? They drafted Lamar Jackson anyway. Because you have to build around a young quarterback. I don't know how much simpler this has to be for Falcons fans. I don't know how much simpler this has to be for the Falcons organization. If they can't see this, then you have the wrong GM. Push your chips to the center of the table, go all in, and draft a quarterback. And if you miss, guess what? In 2023, you go draft another one. It's that simple. You have to be willing to do this. If you're not willing to do it, this thing will never turn around. As I said earlier in the week, you're going to be bad for a very, very, very long time. You have to make a move. The more I think about it, the more I talk about it, I'm convincing myself here, if they don't draft a quarterback in the first round, then what the hell are you doing? What is the plan? Because I have no idea what it is. You can't sell me on the idea that we're going to build up all these other position groups and then go get a quarterback. You may as well say, we're not going to win any games this year. I mean, could Marcus Mariota be a viable quarterback for a season or two? Maybe. But I just don't think that's the smartest plan. I really, really don't. To me, it is absolutely a head scratcher to do it anything other than get the quarterback first. All right, coming up next, I will hand out a shovel of wisdom. Boy, it's going to be fun. And I'll eat a little bit of crow. Not ready to eat all of it, but we'll do that next. Final segment of A to Z coming up right here on Locked On Sports Atlanta.